Java operators. There's a lot of Java operators, but let's cover the one that we have for the assignment operators. There's a multiple of assignment operators in Java. So let me share my screen. Assignment operators in Java is simply reassigning the value of the variable. So let me create a package right here. So we will say operators. Under operators, I'm going to create a class with the name of assignment operators. Okay. And inside of this class, let's create a main method. Make this class runnable. So, and let's say we have an integer variable with the name of apples and the value of 10. So here we have a variable, okay, which is having a value of 10, name of apples, and the type is integer. So this is our variable. So the question is, can I reassign, which is, can I change the value of this variable from 10, let's say, to 12? Okay, so it is easy. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna say, hey, apples. We're not gonna say integer anymore. Okay, we're not gonna say integer apples, okay, because we already have declared this variable. Otherwise, it will be giving us error telling, hey, I cannot use this, okay, because it is already declared. But we're gonna say get these apples, this variable, and change the value to 12. So it has a 10 before, and we will change this to 12. And again, if you say integer right here, so it's not gonna work because this variable is already declared and says you cannot redeclare it. You cannot recreate the same variable with the same name. Okay, so we're gonna remove it. We're gonna say take this variable assigned to 12. So what happens here? This variable changed the value from 10 to 12. Great, we changed the value of the variable. Now let's say we want to add 5 more apples into our apples variable. We're gonna say, hey, apples, I want to change a value. I want to add 5 more apples, whatever you had the value before. So we're gonna say, hey, apples, your previous value plus 5, which means take the previous value of the apples, which is 12, add 5 on it, which will become 17, and assign this 17 to the apples. So the new value of the apples will become 17. It is 17. So we simply reassigning the value of apples. So if you run this, we'll find out that the value of the apples will be 17. Great. It is 17 here. So let's say I want to add 3 more apples into my apples variable. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say apples equals to apples plus 3. Okay, the same thing, right? So we gotta say, hey, apples, I'm gonna change your value. You had a whatever value before, I'm gonna add 3 on top of you, and I will get a new value, which is 20, and I will assign to apples. But instead of doing this, Java says, I have a special operator for you, okay? So instead of writing these apples equals to apples twice, you can just simply say, hey, apples plus equals 3. So this thing will do the same thing as it was doing before, like apples equals to apples plus 3. But here we say apples plus equals to 3. So it will simply add 3 into the previous value of the apples. Okay. So if you print the value of the apples, it will become 20. Okay, and here it is changing from 17 to 20. And the same thing we can do with the minus, multiply, and divide operators. So for example, I want to remove 4 apples, right? So I'm gonna say, hey, apples, whatever you had the value before, I want to remove from that 4, and I want to assign that value to myself. So which means I'm gonna say apples minus equals 4. Okay, so this stands for the same thing, like we can say apples equals to apples minus 4. Okay, So this thing is doing the same thing like here. So it is removing the 4 from the previous value and assigning the new value for the apples. So we're gonna remove this because we have already removed 4 here. Okay, so we will print this and we will see the apples. If we're gonna run it, we will have 16 apples because we need to remove 4 apples from the 20. We got 16 apples. Great. This is not applied only for the plus minus operators. You can also apply this for the multiply and divide. Like I said, I can say, hey, apples, I want to multiply you. Okay, whatever your value was before, I want to multiply that by 2, and I want to assign that value to my apples variable. So which means if we had 16 before, we will take the 16 and multiply this by 2, it will become 32. 32 will be a new value for the apples. So let's run this, apples, and we will run this. We will have a value as 32. 32 right here. And the last one will be apples divide equals to 4. Okay, so if you will take 32 divided by 4, it will become 8. So the new value of the apples will become 8. And we will print this here. Apples, we will have it as a 8. We got it.